The canal runs nearly north and south. It's up to 525 feet wide on the surface and generally allows the passage of ships such as Saratoga up to a draft of about 37 feet. As you can see, the canal travels a tract of low sandy desert. Construction was facilitated by several lakes, Lake Manzala, Lake Timsah, and the Great and Little Bitter Lakes. Both of the Bitter Lakes had their surfaces below sea level, but excavation of the lakes was necessary because their depth was less than that of the canal. Earlier this morning, from Port Said to El Cantara, about 24 miles, the canal passed through Lake Manzala, which is basically a shallow lagoon. The soil of the canal area was favorable for rapid and easy excavation, and, unlike the Panama Canal, no locks are required. Drinking water is brought to the area by the freshwater Ismailia Canal, which starts just north of Cairo, connecting the Nile River. The modern-day canal was actually begun quite a number of years ago. The ancient Egyptians constructed a boat canal from the Nile to the Red Sea in about 1300 BC. This canal, the earlier one, which was first designed to carry fresh water from the Nile, was extended to Suez in about 600 BC. Part of the original construction was used for the freshwater canal during the building of the modern Suez Canal. The old canal was later used by Amir, the Arab conqueror of Egypt, under the Arabian Omar. Now, Omar's idea was to join the Nile with the Red Sea, and, of course, supply Arabia with wheat and food from the Mediterranean and Europe. The canal he sponsored was abandoned about the 8th century AD. At the close of the 15th century, the Italian Venetians investigated the possibilities of a canal from the Mediterranean to the Gulf of Suez, but this idea of the shorter Suez route was actually never carried out. Early in the 19th century, the overland route from the Mediterranean to India was established across Egypt, down the Nile River to Cairo, and then by camels to Suez. Later, a proposal to cut a direct canal across the isthmus to avoid the delay and expense of the land journey was studied by Napoleon Bonaparte. His engineer Lefray mistakenly believed the level of the Mediterranean was 30 feet below that of the Red Sea, and the idea was scrapped as unfeasible. In 1854, Ferdinand de Lesseps, the French consul to Egypt, obtained a concession to establish the Suez Canal Company as a profit-making venture. The Canal Company was formed in 1858, and work on the canal began in 1859, along with work on a freshwater canal from Cairo by way of Ismailia. By terms of the original concession, Egypt was to receive 15% of the gross receipts from the business, and 99 years after its opening, the canal was to go to the Egyptian government. Most of the early Canal Company stock shares were bought by the French, Turks, and Said Pasha, the Egyptian ruler, who helped the company by purchasing nearly half the investment stock. In 1863, the Egyptian monarch refused to continue delivering Egyptian labor as previously agreed upon, and by the arbitration of Napoleon III, Egypt was released from their obligation, but had to indemnify the company some 50 million francs from its proceeds. In 1875, Disraeli, the British Prime Minister, bought 44% of the stock of the company and thus gave Great Britain its first stake in the Suez Canal. The canal was first opened to navigation on November 17, 1869. The waterway originally had a depth of 26 feet and a bottom width of 72 feet, but was later enlarged to accommodate ships drawing 34 feet. After Egypt nationalized the canal in 1956, there were further improvements, and in 1961, the canal was opened to ships of 37 feet draft. The canal is important, both for strategic and commercial interest. The canal itself reduces the sea distance between Western Europe and India by nearly 5,000 miles. Northbound commercial traffic consists chiefly of oil for Western Europe. Manufactured goods from the United States, Canada, Latin America, and Western Europe head for Africa and Asia. This generally constitutes the southbound traffic. The importance of the canal was recognized by the major powers in the Constantinople Convention of 1888, and this was important because it guaranteed passage through the canal to ships of all nations during peace and war. In fact, Turkey permitted passage to Italian ships even during the Turco-Italian War of 1911. The problem did not arise during World War I and II because of British naval domination of the Mediterranean. However, after the armistice with Israel in 1950, Egypt detained ships and confiscated cargoes bound to and from Israel. What about this great waterway? It's been my pleasure once again sharing all of this with you. I'd like to remind all passengers to please remain seated until the bus comes to a complete stop. On behalf of the bridge crew and Captain Mobley, thank you and good day.